these agencies coming to you and saying, "Oh, well, we've got this," and you're like, "We don't want it." It's very difficult to say no to those referrals, because then that agency is going to go, "Well, we don't want to work with you in the future then, because you're going to cherry pick." I don't know if you still take on referrals.
No. Referral or white label? Two different things.
Yeah, they are. My concern, my issue with referrals, full stop, they're great as a sticky plaster to get some money in early, but you can't control them. And I don't mean the rate that they come in, but the quality of the leads. And what I've found is it's really very hard to say no to an agency referring you to work, because you feel like you're letting them down, because they've got, let's say it's an SEO agency.
Right.
And they're working with a specific client that you've got no experience of, or you don't want to work with that type of client. In your case, it would be lead gen. So you've got these agencies coming to you and saying, "Oh, well, we've got this," and you're like, "We don't want it." It's very difficult to say no to those referrals, because then that agency is going to go, "Well, we don't want to work with you in the future then, because you're going to cherry pick." And that's my big concern with referrals. And I just got into a few issues over the years trying to deal with referrals, because I was trying to get them into specific niches that I wanted to work with, because we had the experience in the case studies for them.
Similar experience. So one was we're strategic in terms of which agencies we align with. So not just like some, random agency. Initially it was just, anyone local.
Yeah.
Anyone with potential clients. Because at the same time, we did not have a clear picture in terms of, let's say, who our ideal client, is, and, all of these things, right? But we've gotten more selective, but I agree with you. It was hard. And also, maybe I'd like to kind of differentiate like overall, like referrals versus white label. So white label is essentially, we do work under their umbrella. So we have tried that for years, and it was somewhat successful, but then later we like, after deeper analysis, and after we have significantly improved our own client base, we reduced that more and more. And now I think maybe now we don't take white label, but I would say like it started in maybe 2010 or so, when budgets got cut. Guess who got cut first? Like from those agencies, we did.
Yeah.
So that was bad. And the other thing is that it was harder to raise rates and ask for essentially what you're worth, because
the agency, the other side, has to pass it on. So it's a double step to get that rate to go up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is that we have noticed that when you have this type of relationship, like white label relationship, is that you don't control the client flow, to your point. So we've gotten some bad clients, needy clients, that we had to serve just because we had a pre-existing relationship, and we had a commitment to support that agency. So it was tough, because like you had to take pretty much like everything under that agency, because otherwise you were kind of like risking damaging the relationship. So I would say that, and maybe like the final thing is that, maybe poor expectation management. Some agencies were good, some agencies were pretty bad on this. And then, we would get like too many questions, or maybe questions that, maybe that we should have been discussed, or maybe even like goals that should have been maybe realigned, and so on, to make sure that what's communicated to the end client is correct. And at the same time, the kind of, there's no scope creep from the account management side.
Yeah, I think if you do white label all referrals, you've as the PPC side of things, I think you've got to control so much of it right up until the point of sale. And I'd even argue before the sale, because I've got a pre-onboarding checklist, not an onboarding, a pre-onboarding, and it's essentially a risk assessment of the client.
Okay.
And you run through all these checks to make sure if there's any red flags before you take money. So I think if you've got something like that down, and then you've got a very strict process, how you work, communicate, who does what, and really structure it, then white labeling works. But you still have to be specialist. I think a white labeler that, well, I know that white labelers who are PPC agencies really struggle, because they have everything thrown at them. Whereas someone like Justin Rondeau did a video with me, Invisible PPC, and they're lead gen.
Okay.
So, and mainly local service businesses, some national stuff, but you know, your roofers, your plumbers, that sort of stuff.
Right.
And ultimately, they're all very similar from a Google Ads perspective, the lead gen flow, landing pages, the CRMs, the tracking. So they can have a very structured approach. But if you started throwing insurance companies into the mix and e-com, it would be hell to run that white label agency.